The race to the playoffs has officially begun here at the Pokemon Premiership. We're back for match day 3 here on Season 6. Thank you so much for joining, guys. We have a lovely panel here again. Spectre, Titanes, thank you so much for joining. We've officially reached the halfway point. The groups are starting to shake up. And yeah, we're starting to get to a point where the games are really, really decisive. So I want to get your guys' thoughts on how do you think this weekend will play out, and how are you approaching it?
Well, first of all, I didn't know our host was Max Verstappen. Yeah, I think some really exciting matchup this week. Of course, I haven't played, but if I didn't to see how my group ends up, and yeah, plenty of other exciting matches as well, because we saw very entertaining players like Max and Savutian take a break last week, so it'd be great to see them back this week. And yeah, I think these two, we're out of time now. But I think in the first two games, I think it's impossible pretty much. Like even if you lose the first two games, there's no way you're completely out. But this is where it gets intense, because now if you lose, for some people it could be 3 games which they lose, and if you do lose 3 games, you're most likely out. So it's a do or die for a lot of people.
Yeah, of course.
Welcome,
I mean,
Matt, as well.
first,
Go on,
yes,
Spectre.
hello, Matt.
Yeah.
First, let me just say that was an amazing trailer. I mean,
Yep.
wow.
Thank you.
And you know, like T10S was saying, 2 really is the magic number. And now that we're entering into that sort of phase where a lot more players are going to be able to get to like that 2-win standing, we're going to see really important week this match day. Let me pull up the schedule right now. Because we have at least because we have some people playing for their lives. We have some people trying to just play for some luxury. I mean, I know at least like for example, the live match that'll be between myself and Varon, that's really going to be for like the top spot in the group. We've pretty much penciled ourselves into the playoffs so far because we've won our first 2 matches. Of course, there's no guarantee because it could be some magical way that one of us might not make it. But I don't think it's possible now because I don't think it's possible. I think now, but it's a ton of math. We'll have to see what ends up happening this week, but I'm looking very much forward to these last kind of run-in of the group stage where we get into like the magic of the knockout stage.
Yeah, obviously. Matt, I welcome you to the panel once again. We're talking about how we're reaching the halfway point of the group stage. Obviously, last week you took a break. You came back for your game this week, your second one. So, I mean, how are you approaching this week, and what are you expecting from the tournament from this point onwards, where every game is so important?
Well, on my end, looking to get back to winning ways and put up my team in a stronger position to control our destiny a bit more, or in the group, and then as a tournament as a whole. There's a lot of interesting games with unpredictability. Huge one in Group A. Group D has a lot of competition, and Group C has the most uncertainty for me.
Yeah, exactly. That is a perfect segue, because that is something that I wanted to clarify ahead of this stream, because there has been a massive shakeup in Group C, and that was the sudden departure of Rassi from the tournament due to scheduling problems. Sadly, he was a bit too busy to participate in many of his games. Obviously, we saw him play last week, but it was becoming a bit too complicated for him to meet the scheduling. So he ended up dropping for the tournament. And in normal circumstances, what would happen here is that every opponent would get a 6-0 win from him. But it was due to the combined efforts of everybody in Group C that we actually found a replacement, and that the players in Group C agreed to play this new person. Their name is Boyd. To actually complete the group, which I think it's pretty commendable. Like, normally I wouldn't have allowed it, but everybody was so excited to play their games that I allowed it. It included Idaa giving up the win that we had given him already in Matchday 1. Like, we gave Idaa a 6-0 win, and he was willing to give that one up in order just to play their games. against Void and complete the group. So what's going to happen is that today we're going to have a total of 7 battles, and then we're going to catch up with Void next week and see what her battles also look like. So yeah, that has been a massive shakedown, because now the group is very much wide open, and it's the only group that is at the moment incomplete. It will be complete next week, but yeah, until then it's complete uncertainty, like Mats was saying. Welcome, Slither. You missed the intro. That was about it. I'm sure you want to check that one out at the once the stream is over. But yeah, besides that, we were just getting started, and we're getting close to our first live battle, which is going to be Philippe against Idaa, which I think it's a very, very interesting one. Obviously, Philippe, we didn't see battle last week, but in match day 1, he was able to defeat Doodle, the pot 1 opponent in that group. We were just speaking about Group C, and Idaa, who after giving up his forfeit win over Rassi, is 0-1 after losing to Alfima. So both players coming in with a lot to prove, and I think that both very capable trainers with very strong teams. I think it's going to be very exciting. I don't know if you guys have like opinions on that match ahead of us.
I mean, well, looking at the rosters right now, I mean, I see like, I think the question is going to be about like how Ida's going to be able to get around Blissey, actually, because he has, I mean, he has like a very strong special side in the forms of, you know, Shiyu, of course, which might be better known as Savutian's trademark guy, but he also has, you know, Walking Wake, he has Volcanion as well, and he also has, you know, like Hatterene, Road and Wash. I think like it's a lot easier for this team to sort of like muscle past like things like Tingwu, simply because it can't recover. There's also just better, you know, those teams have like natural coverage, you know, of having the Fairy Stab, Road and Walking Wake with, you know, Road and Wake, Volcanion, all with their water stabs, and then of course Shiyu is just like that strong. But and I'm wondering really how that's gonna go. Philip, of course, has a incredibly strong lineup, you know, with like Tapu Lele and Mega Alakazam in psychic terrain. So, whew, I mean, that's going to be incredibly difficult for anybody to switch it. I mean, and then he also has like the perfect backup in the form of, you know, Zygarde, who has been neutered pretty heavily, I believe. I mean, he can't use Thousand Arrows. I mean, which which does really make it a bit difficult to really get past the opposing Skarmory, but we'll have to see about how he goes about doing this. So,
I mean,
but I think
if you guys want to speak over the lineups, we have them right here, because we're already in the battle room. Here we have the lineups. On the side of Philippe, we see the Zygarde, the Tapu Lele, the Alakazam, Mega Alakazam, Sneasler, Blissey, and Tinglu, while Idaa has lined up with Skarmory, Whimsicott, Mega Mawile, Porygon 2, Hatterene, and Volcanion, the Golden Boot of last tournament. So, I mean, no Chiyu, yeah, on the side of Idaa. I mean, Titines, what's your opinion on that?
I mean, very bold, but I kind of get it, because Blissey and Tinglu, there are very few Pokemon who can actually counter Chiyu in this tournament, and those two are in that pool. So I can kind of understand the choice. Yes, I believe, yes, 2 Steel types, 2 Fairy types. Well, no, 3 Fairy types. So it's going to be interesting to see how Philip deals with that. On paper, I think Philip's team looks a bit stronger, but Idaa, I don't know. He's a player who can pull some tricks out of his bags, which we don't expect. So yeah, I think Philip, is probably the favorite, but I think you can't really rule that out, I don't think.
No, obviously. We're going to have to see what the lineups, what the leads are going to be for this game, which obviously, as we mentioned, has massive implications for Group C. We'll still have to see what Void brings to the table next week. But in the meantime, I think that these are 2 very capable trainers. We saw how dangerous some of Ida's Pokemon were last week, even though he wasn't able to get the win. And yeah, Philippe bringing something very similar. We know how strong that psychic terrain is with both Sneasler and Mega Alakazam. So we're going to have to see how Idaa has been able to prepare for that. Usually Idaa is someone who brings interesting choices to the table, as we have the leads here with the Skarmory in front of the Blissey.
I think this is
out of the get-goes.
Trade of rocks, I think.
Could be a trade of rocks. Possibly. There's always a chance for an Iron Defense body press set on a
Good
But
call.
Skarmory.
you also could switch right into Hatterene to bounce back any rocks and kind of just like sit on them for a while.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
mean, Hatterene does look particularly strong, especially from full. So if it's running, like Calm Mind, Psyshock,
I'm pretty sure.
dual stabs, like that looks very strong here.
Yeah, I think that the only thing that is bad if you switch into Hatterene if you eat like Seismic Toss, but even then that's okay. Because even like something like a Toxic or any status condition would also get bounced back.
Won't work. Yeah.
So yeah,
Okay.
I think
Pretty sure.
Mhm.
Pretty sure Hatterene gets Trick Room as well, which would be a very good move to have.
It does.
Yeah.
As does Porygon too.
yeah,
Yeah.
2 Trick
Yeah,
Room
so
setters.
we could see that really to help out Mawile while still being able to run like a bulky set. You
That's
might be able to
true.
do some toying around with those. There goes Ting-Lu.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a switch into a Ting-Lu and the
And the
Toxic
Toxic
comes
Ooh.
in.
so
That's actually
daring.
massive.
That's big, actually. Yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
yeah, back what I was saying, like you can probably do like a little fun stuff with like
Well, this is
intimidate.
donation.
Yeah,
This is
you can
donation.
do some sort
Yeah.
of like intimidate cycling with
Body press comes
Body
out,
press
it's super
comes in,
effective,
yeah.
but not a lot of damage, and the rocks go
okay.
up instead of
Okay.
Philippe.
So he didn't
So
have
you
an
can-
obliterate.
Yeah, so you can do like some sort of like intimidate cycling with Mawile if you really want to like play around with those games. Though I think you really want to have huge power sooner than later. But like if you really
Yeah.
desperately need to do so, like
If
but
all
the
Okay,
fog
good.
as well.
comes out, and there goes the rocks, but
And
the
Ruination.
Ruination is going to connect, and that's
It is.
half of Skarmory's health. Although Skarmory does get roost, so he could potentially heal
Yeah,
that
it
damage
probably has
off.
boost too.
Here comes the switch
Here
into the
comes the
Tapu
leg.
Lele, though, to set up the
Uh-oh.
Psychic
Here it
terrain,
is.
and it's going to
And
be a
Body
great
Press
switch
bounces
into the
off
Body
it.
Press.
Para? No para.
No, Body Press doesn't para. That's Body Slam.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah.
So here comes Ting-Lu
Goes
once
back into
again,
Ting-Lu.
now in the Psychic terrain, and the poison is going to fail as it's already poisoned.
But what can this thing do in Psychic?
I mean, you can Ruination again. I mean, this could have rest. It could have spikes, and these spikes looks really strong here.
I mean,
Especially
Yeah.
because it's flat damage. It's flat damage against Mawile, who doesn't really mind rocks over the long term.
Oh, Idaa overprotecting there, but the
Memento!
Memento comes
That's a
out,
mad move.
and
That's a mad move.
Ting-Lu goes down, and
And here
here's the
comes
switch into the
Sneasler.
Sneasler, though.
Or the Psychic
And
terrain.
there's the Psychic Seed, and the Unburden has been procced, so the Sneasler is the fastest thing in the field now.
And
And
it's
this
immune to Toxic
Skarmory
as
is
well.
absolutely not.
And I
Yeah,
don't
it's
think
immune to Toxic. If you
this
Braver,
could get
you're
like a
going to do
couple
merciless
swords
damage.
damage.
Here comes the Swords Dance. Body Press is going to do nothing.
Why would you go for that?
Oof.
And now this
You
is
probably
the
Maybe
do
problem.
it
this
again.
Skarmory is the first line of defense.
Close Combat comes out and takes out the Skarmory in one hit.
Okay, Sucker
That's
Punch on mobile. This would be
You
okay.
can't sucker punch with
Psychic
Psychic
terrain.
terrain.
Oh, fuck.
So this is a problem. This is exactly the kind of situation that Philippe wanted. And I don't think that Idaa has anything. You kind of have to go into Mawile, I think. Intimidate and
You
try
have
to
to, yeah,
survive with the
intimidate.
Mega.
I think you
Cycle.
might have this. I mean, yeah.
I
But
think it can have a +1 close combat if it's like max HP. I mean,
Ooh, yeah, it could be close. But if Idaa has prepared for this, I think that Mawile is kind of the only answer right now. Anything else is not going to tank a hit.
I mean, he had to have prepared for this.
yeah, that's like I don't know really what the opinion of not dropping
Yes,
Whirlwind
but
or anything like that.
Don't think any of his Pokemon get priority moves either. So.
I mean,
Yeah,
well,
no.
there's priority stun spore, but like all the priority moves are being blocked by a Psychic terrain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and 3 turns of
So, I
Psychic
mean-
terrain is a lot. It's actually terrain
Unless
extender.
you go into one of the poison weakness Pokemons and then switch to Mawile.
You could do that.
Could do that. I mean, one of them could have
Oh,
fast.
gosh.
There comes Hatterene.
Please tell me we didn't miss much. That is an annoying disconnect. Oh, wow.
Oh,
What the hell
Oh,
happened?
what do you
Wait,
think?
it's
Oh.
down. Sneasler's down as well.
Neither. Wait, he
He
went for close
CC'd.
combat.
He CC'd in
tried
front
to-
of him. Yeah, he said it. He
Oh.
risked it. He actually
He
tried to get in front of it.
it.
Oh, he felt.
Oh
Yeah,
my
I mean,
goodness.
oh my god, the
I think
game
he has
was.
to-
No poison move?
Oh.
I think after
No,
the battle-
surely.
No,
he
he
had
was
it,
playing
but-
for a double. He was playing for a double. He thought he was just gonna double out into like Mawile
Into
or whatever, and
Mawile
would have
or
been
anything.
destroyed.
Yeah, and to be fair to Philippe, that would have been a nice play from Idaa's point of view to go into the Mawile, intimidate, and tank the poison move with the steel typing, but Philippe over-predicting on that one, and the Trick Room go up, takes out the Sneasler, and now Idaa's in a commanding position.
The thing is that I think Idaa will have the advantage as long as Hatterene is on the field.
This switch to the Whimsicott is a bit strange. Here comes the Leech Seed, and the teleport out is going to get rid of that. I think that Idaa is losing valuable time here, going into the Whimsicott and wasting his own Trick Room turns.
Does Transfer work on ground type Pokemon?
Yes, it does.
Yes.
But of course, it's not going to work if Psychic Terrain goes up.
Yeah.
And there it goes. Yeah,
well,
I
is
think
naturally faster, so maybe we might feel like a U-turn or something. I don't know.
Unless it's a particularly slow Whimsicott.
Substitute
runs out.
Okay.
That's a good move.
Runs out. But I don't know if there's much you can do in front of the Blissey. You can probably Leech Seed again, but a teleport is going to get rid of that.
You can't Leech Seed.
Oh, because it's Psychic Terrain, right? Oh, every priority move is blocked right now by the Psychic Terrain, and the Prankster and the Whimsicott playing against it in this case.
He needs to take that earlier down.
Yeah.
I mean, I think like really one of the best ways you can probably try to do that, I mean, if he does have it, is to teleport his Porygon 2 and then kind of work from there.
Something interesting. Whimsicott does learn Trick Room too, I remember. So that could be a crazy tech to have. Whimsicott, one of the few Pokemon that learns both Tailwind and Trick Room. So yeah, if Idaa prepared for that, it would be really interesting.
Oh, have you used that in VGC before? Have you used that in VGC before? Both Tailwind and Trick Room on win?
Not on the same team, but I've had times where I've seen a Whimsicott and I'm like, oh, it's gonna Tailwind, and then it clicks Trick Room on me. So yeah, that was pretty fun. So we're gonna have to see it's a pivotal point here.
We know that Whimsicott has Substitute, Leech Seed, and have the other two.
In a second team, no.
Yeah, well, still to be revealed what its other moves are.
And there's the Moonblast, but it's gonna do nothing.
Yeah.
And the Seismic Toss is gonna break the sub, and that's that.
All that waiting just for that.
Yeah. I mean, Whimsicott is never gonna break through this Blissey. I think that right now your only answering to Blissey is gonna be Mawile, and potentially if you have Psyshock on the Hatterene. Besides that, you have no way of doing damage to this Blissey.
Yeah.
Can Mawile get a Substitute?
I believe it can.
To answer your question, Slither, about if you use -6 priority Trick Room with Prankster, it is always -6.
Yeah, exactly. So Porygon 2 is going to come in and it's going to trace the Natural Cure, so it's not a download on the Porygon. And here comes the Tapu Lele once again.
Now, I don't know if there's anything that can really...
Substitute comes out, and the Trick Room comes out on the Porygon. So now there's an interesting situation. Porygon should outspeed under Trick Room.
And I think it has Shadow Ball, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
I mean, Tri-Tap does fine as well.
Probably would break the sub too.
This is big because if he takes us down, then...
Yeah. But the thing is that Porygon is probably going to have... Oh, Lele actually underspeeds in Trick Room. Oh, there's a teleport out. That's why. The negative priority. Porygon teleports out.
But what can do
now,
damage?
It's going to be the Mawile coming in. And yeah, Mawile is definitely going to underspeed. But it's going to have to break through a substitute, leave a hit, and then hit again. There's the Mega. The Iron Head is definitely going to break the substitute. Drainage is not a lot of damage.
Yeah, that's bad move. You're going to take a lot of damage here no matter what.
Yeah, everything is going to take a massive Iron Head now. There's no good switching. Something is going to go down. Here comes the Tiger. Here comes the Play Rough in the Predict, and the Tiger goes down.
Well done.
I don't think Iron Head would have KO'd. Oh my god.
That's probably the best move too.
I don't think Iron Head would have KO'd as well. Oh my god.
And there's one turn of Trick Room left as well.
And even Philip has to concede it.
And even Philippe, the master trash talker, admits it was a good move.
Yeah. Lele comes out, but
suddenly-
we're still in the trick room. And so there's going to be the switch into the
Oh, no,
Blissey.
that's
Aaron,
a
it's going to be
wrong
massive damage.
Whoa.
And Philippe is down to his
Man.
final Pokemon, but here comes Alakazam. We've seen
Sucker punch,
Alakazam
surely sucker
swing
punch.
shift before.
You can't
It's
sucker
psychic
punch.
terrain.
Oh, you can't. Oh god.
We've
He
seen
might be able to
Alakazam, but
reverse everything.
Again, Alakazam traces
Huge
huge
power.
power here. Focus blast misses,
Oh,
and the Arrowhead is gonna take out the Alakazam. That's the
Over.
outcome that Ida needed,
GG's. Oh my
and that's
days.
most likely gonna be the game. Tapulele
5-0.
is alone in front of this Mauel that has been terrorizing the Golf R-Box. And I believe that's all she wrote. The Draining Kiss is going to do absolutely nothing. One last Arrowhead is going to do it.
Wow.
And Ida picks up a 5-0 win over Philippe.
That is his
Wow.
best ever win in this tournament by far.
Absolutely. I mean, that game looked like it was going to be 6-0 to Philip. And then
Wait,
it wasn't.
Wait, sorry, can we go back to when the trick room was set up, like the first time against Sneasler?
Yeah. Yeah, sure thing.
Like, yeah, look at that. I mean, he goes, presses, defogs, Lele comes back up. Back in the
And this-
Tinglu.
Here's a key turn where Sneasler is
Yeah, it
able
goes
to come in.
5-0. Yeah,
So he
look,
went
it
for
goes
body
5-0.
It was a strange move, this, I thought. And then yeah,
Post
Someone takes
combat.
out the summary. That's
Good.
good.
but then
And
it goes
Hatterin
into
comes in. And just an
Hatterin.
overpredict on the side of Philippe.
Yep.
Yeah. He just
And
totally
just like
does
that,
it.
trick room goes up. And your Philippe, your Sneasler is gone.
I think
Incredible.
the worst part about everything is that like it was still possible for Philip to win because I mean
Yeah.
if he was able to get past the Mawile, which I think was very much possible, he would have just cornered everything with Bushy. The game would have been over.
Mm-hmm.
But oh my
Wow.
goodness.
What
Oh,
a
man.
massive statement for Ida to get this victory.
Ooh.
And that really shakes up the group in a massive way. We're going to have to see
Man.
both trainers now one-on-one. And we're still missing a lot of games on that group. But this already has massive ramifications for the rest of the group. Shout out to Ida. That was a massive performance. And Mawile popped off on the trick room. Seeing how powerful that strategy could be. Wow. Amazing stuff, gotta say.
I mean, whew.
Anyway, I'm gonna ask Kaijinken and Piko if they're up for their battle. Otherwise, we can move on to our replay. That we have.
I mean, if you see this chat right now, I mean, he's gonna have to back up his words right now because
Yeah,
he's calling Philip all types of
exactly.
bums.
Incredible, incredible. Yeah, insane performance. I agree, Slither, on the side of Ida. That was incredible. Yeah, I mean, if Alakazam landed that focus blast, there was a chance that it killed, honestly.
Yeah, but then
Yeah, I mean, good shot.
All right, so Kaijinken and Piko are going to set up for our next live battle, which is also a massive one. After the defeat from the side of Piko to Spectre, and Kaijinken losing to Varon, both trainers, 0-1, looking to bounce back. And it's not yet a must-win game, but it kind of feels like a must-win game because going 0-2 really forces you to a situation where you have no more breathing room. So, yeah, it's going to be a very interesting one because it's a battle between two very capable trainers as well, from what we've seen in past tournaments and on the side of Piko on that battle against Spectre. I mean, since it's a group that concerns you, Spectre, I don't know if you have any opinions on how that match could play out.
I mean, well, looking at the group, I mean, I've had to look at this group for a couple, like 2-3 weeks now. I mean, looking at this group and looking at the players, I mean, this is very much the group of depth, and I think, especially now that we know that like Varon has been really, really good so far. We saw how good Piko was doing against me. I think a little bit of was definitely I got a lot of help from Paralysis in beating him. He has a very capable team. But I think like really like those bottom three guys like Piko, Kaijinken, T10S, I mean, they are all playing playoff games right now. Like these are playoff
Mhm.
games to them. And it's only one spot, so like every single moment matters. And I think this might come down to differential as well. So they're going to not only need to win, but I think there might be something that creeps into their minds about like how much they're going to need to win by. I think well, T10F, I mean, you're a bit deeper in the hole than them two, so so you can probably confirm or deny about like what I'm talking about. But I know like at least like last season, I know I was pretty far out of form, and I started worrying about like if I win, I need to win by like 3 or 4, or like 4 or 5 against like this guy and that guy and all that sort of stuff. And I mean, that starts getting at you. Like you start building teams that are a bit less optimal because you need to win by a certain amount instead of just needing to win in the first place.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
for sure. Yeah, I think Pokemon differential comes into it as well. Like I think fortunately, none of my losses have been that big. 2-3-0, not terrible. So if I win by decent margins my next 2 games, then I'll be able to make up for it. But yeah, I mean, like we saw last season. I'm sorry to bring this up, but we saw last season how Pokemon differential can affect the final match days. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, a massive one here in the cards. We're gonna have to see how this one plays out. We have here the battle room ready to see what the lineups are gonna be for this group with massive implications for Group D. Here we have it on the side of Kaijinken. It's gonna be the Sableye, the Dragapult, Kartana, Gouging Fire, Annihilate, and Landorus, while Piko is bringing the Tapu Koko, Howlucha, Rotom Wash, Scizor, Mega Venusaur, and Incineroar. A few changes on both sides. So yeah, I mean, Matt, any opinions before this match kicks off?
Well, I believe the Rumble FC have gone even more attacking than last time. Katana's come in, and I believe that was the only change. So if Pico can tank enough of this fiery attack, then I think he's got this one in the bag, because when you take away Sableye, it's a hard attacking team, and Pico showed some promise last time against Spectre.
And it's going to be the Sableye in the lead, in the side of Kaijinken, as Incineroar, Wolfie, VGC, hitting the field instead of Piko.
So maybe he will play Haram.
It's borderline.
The light
himself.
screen
Front comes out after the light screen, so there's
But I
a
don't get
screen
it.
up, but no more.
I think he would play Reflect there.
I mean, yeah.
Yes,
Probably,
but
but here comes Inigo Martinez. The knockoff is going to bounce off because it's already consumed its booster energy to boost its attack. And now this Gouging Fire is potentially a problem. Dragon Dance is going to come out. It's even more scary. The first is going to lower its attack by 1 stage.
That saved him.
But still have the +1 from the the slight
energy,
boost from the booster energy. So
I think it could go to Rotom here.
There are options here, although it's behind the light screen, so any special attacks are going to do less damage. But yeah, you have to try and find what the best solution is going to be. There's going to be the Rotom Wash hitting the field in front of the light screen and the Gouging Fire. So we're going to see. Do you gamble on the Hydro Pump here?
What club does Piko support?
He doesn't like football. He's not into sports like at all.
Okay.
Here's the Dragon Dance here. And the Hydro Pump connects and it bounces off in the light screen. And this is dangerous for Piko. Now this Gouging Fire is out of control.
Yeah.
You have to have a Thunder Wave somewhere. And I think, like, and if you are Kaijinken, you need another DD.
You do.
Yeah. Because if you switch into Incineroar, that's another Intimidate coming out.
It's for the speed more for the speed than the power, because and then there's an Intimidate, Heat Crash, bounces off.
All that effort gone to it. Oh wait, but okay, still trade ice cream though. 3 times.
Yeah, Earthquake comes out and takes out Incineroar. There it goes. first knockout to Kaijinken, and now this gouging fire is +2 speed. And
I think you have to go
still has the
straight
attack boost.
for. You have to go straight to Tapu Koko to trigger Halucha right now. There you go.
There it goes. The light screen still has 2 more turns, so unless you are witnessing a physical Koko, it's very unlikely.
I don't think it's
going
going to do enough damage, even if it is physical.
Yeah,
The only thing,
and you have,
I mean, Brave Bird crit. I mean, how funny would that be?
Even then, you're slower than the gouging fire at +2 speed, so it's a difficult situation. Here comes the pocket to the Hawlucha.
I think he goes for Heat Crash here.
It's not enough. It hangs on thanks to the defense boost from the electric seed, but who actually outspeeds now? Both have double the speed. Hawlucha should be the faster one.
But who knows if it's going to do enough damage?
Is this Hawlucha Mexican?
But that has to be bullet punch range, surely.
Yeah.
So
you would expect. And I think that's the only option for Piko to stay in the game. And then again, he's still down 2 Pokemon in this battle. He can bring
Volt switch. I'd have Volt switch had gone into Caesar ready for the Sableye.
You cannot do that because gouging fire is faster than your Tapu Koko. You're gonna lose too much health. The bullet punch.
Okay, that works as well.
So goes 5 on 6. I mean, he has a good Will-O-Wisp switching. Oh, Annihilate.
Here comes Annihilate.
Gerard Maldini.
Potentially. And I mean, we know that Annihilate is a Pokemon that you cannot hit many times before it gets out of control with those Rage Fists. But I think that Kaijinken here has a pretty free bulk up in front of this Caesar. If he
there's also, there could be a dual wing beat there, so you have to watch out for that.
Yep.
Something
does have
scary about dual wing beat is that it hits
moves.
twice, so it procs Rage Fist twice as well.
But I don't think he'd be able to get it off if he does get the dual wing beat, but he doesn't.
Final Gambit is going to come out, and it's going to be a trade 1-for-1. Knocking out the Rotom and taking itself down with it. And so now it's 4-3.
Wow, so he really won.
I like Venusaur's odds here, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I mean, like, how does he take it out? Dragapult's the only, but even then.
I mean, Draco Meteor.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the thought process on Kaijinken because you're trying to remove a defensive piece from Piko, but Annihilate was a problem for Piko. Like, he didn't have that many good options to take it out after Hawlucha went down. So now we're in a situation where, yes, you're up a Pokemon, but this could get tricky. Bullet Punch is going to come out. It's
a lot of damage.
And there's the replay going up.
But for what?
It doesn't have Will-O-Wisp. It's a problem. Another Bullet Punch is not going to be enough. And another screen goes up. So Kaijinken is sacrificing Sableye to get the screens up and hope that his other sweepers can finish off the game.
Man, it would have been very helpful if Koko had Defog.
Yeah,
it does get Defog.
We don't know if it does or doesn't.
Here comes Sean Dyche. Gilandorus.
Let's see if the game's still here. I mean, this could be horrifying. I mean,
so what can you do? Hidden Power Fire? I don't want to.
Oof, Empire Ice. Do enough, and here comes Nasty Plot. That's what you can do.
Who gives us Nasty Plot? My goodness.
And now I think that Earth Power kills everything. I think Earth Power is just a knockout on everything.
You have to sack Scizor here. Hopefully you have Hidden Power Ice on Tapu Koko. And then you work from there.
It's not going to be enough through the light screen. Bullet Punch is going to come out. Okay,
that might help.
Yeah, surely Hidden Power Ice is enough from this range. Does he have it? And I think that's what he's banking on. Because the light screen is going to prevent...
It could be ice, it could be fire.
There's the Hidden Power, and it is! Hidden Power Ice takes out the Landorus, and now it's a 2-on-2. Here comes Erling Holland.
This is going to be a close one. Ooh.
It's going to be super close because now this Kartana is a problem. It's going to be the switch into the Venusaur. Smart Strike is good damage.
Yes,
you better have synthesis.
EP.
Swords Dance comes out from the Kartana. Hidden Power.
Does it live? It lives. But does Venusaur live? Does it live?
Oh, it's going to be super close. Here comes the Smart Strike. It does not survive. And there's a
But
beautiful...
it's
Poco is
faster.
faster. Poco is
The Poco is
faster.
Piko is faster, but you still have a Dragapult to get
But
past.
Dragapult
I
might
think
not
it's
be able
gonna
to
come down to a
Oko.
one-on-one.
I don't think he can Oko.
Oh my goodness, the Thunderbolt comes out, takes out the Kartana. It's a one-on-one.
Oh my
This is the
God.
battle we wanted
Oh
to
my
see.
God.
It's coming down to the wire. It's
Woo.
going to be the
Kylian
Dragapult
Mbappe.
against...
Can he
Here comes
score?
the Thunderbolt.
It's
It's not enough
scored!
damage. Oh,
It's
it's gonna...
gone.
Oh
GG.
no.
Oh no, Phantom Force is gonna come out, and surely
He
that's
could
gonna
have
be enough.
dazzling gleamed. He could have
There's the
dazzling
Phantom Force.
gleamed.
The
Yeah,
Tapu
he's
Koko
on!
survives. Does he get a para? Does he get a para? He does not get a para.
Oh,
That was the
GG.
final chance. And this Phantom Force is gonna do it. Kaijinken, by the skin of his teeth, picks up the win.
Whew.
What a battle.
Did he not have dazzling gleam? 'Cause
I mean,
if you're
even
Scarf,
then,
I
you
don't
can-
get why you don't click that.
Even if
Neither
you
do
don't
I.
have Dazzling Gleam, you have Hidden Power Ice. We saw it.
Yeah.
Even that was better than Thunderbolt.
And it would have been
I
enough.
think I think this was a throw on the side of Piko. I think that he had it.
He had it.
It was Specs. That's fair. Then why did you click?
Yeah, it was
Hidden Power?
Specs, but like what?
Oh, then you
what
have
was
to
the
that
Dazzling
was
difference?
really
Gleam.
slow. Yeah. Yeah, so why not Hidden Power Ice then? That's probably 2 at KO.
Yeah, my only guess is that he thought that the game was over and clicked Thunderbolt in the Kartana. But I think if you have Dazzling Gleam or Hidden Power Ice, you kind of need to click that. Wow, what a game.
Wow.
Kaijinken just barely getting the win on that one. Wow, incredible stuff.
Wow, I just checked as well. I think yeah. So Thunderbolt does around it does around 10 more percent HP. Sorry, Hidden Power Ice does around 10% more HP than Thunderbolt to Dragon Balls.
So maybe it wouldn't have been enough because Dragapult lived on 29. So
Yeah, but that's like the minimum roll, so like you never know.
how does it do 10 more? It should do a lot more than that because it's Thunderbolt is not very effective and Hidden Power Ice is super effective.
No,
like-
probably Electric Terrain.
Oh, Electric Terrain. Oof. Just Final Gambit thinking he would switch to Coco. That's fair. That's honestly fair.
Paid off. Yeah.
Removing Coco was pretty much a game win on that one. Wow. Wow, what a battle. That was one of the closest battles we've ever seen in the tournament. That was amazing. Absolute cinema once again. And Kaijinken getting a crucial win. He really needed that one to keep his hopes alive here in the group. Now 1-on-1. Piko moving down to 0-2. It's going to have a massive mountain to climb in the next match day.
I just set up my
Yeah.
battle with Varon now, so if you guys want to get that going.
All right. Yeah, sure enough. We're going to move on to our third live battle of the day, which is going to be Spectre against Blue Varon, the two trainers who are currently unbeaten in Group D, both 2-0. And we're going to have to see who makes that push for the first place. So let's see what the lineups here are for both trainers. On the side of Spectre, we see once again the Garchomp, the Urshifu, the Moltres, the Blissey. Bolton comes out, who let the dogs out, and the Corviknight. While on the side of Blue Baron, we see the Toxapex, the Cure, and the Roaring Moon, Rillaboom, Iron Crown, and Mega Charizard Y.
Wow,
I mean, C10S, what do you make out of these lineups?
Some very seeing a couple of debuts here, which is very surprising in a matchup like this. But I can understand Bolton because he has Toxapex and Charizard, so like types are going to be very good into that. And same with Rillaboom, will be good into the. I think it'll be good. Actually, I'm not sure how good Rillaboom is. Maybe for the Blissey because you want more physical attackers. But yeah, I think a lot of Pokemon which we already know, but a couple of new ones as well. I think this is a 50-50. I mean, the last game we saw third versus fourth place. Now we're seeing first versus second place in Group D. So potentially even a better matchup.
Yeah. Let's see then what the leads are going to be here. It's a very important game because the winner of this essentially locks a spot in the playoffs. 3 wins is kind of that magical number to secure. And here comes Brigadier Gerard, the Boltund, in front of the Kyurem. And it's going to be interesting to see what kind of set this Boltund is running. We see the ball switch. It's faster, and it's going to switch into something now in front of this Kyurem. The Moltres comes out, and the Dragon Dance comes out on the Kyurem. And this is dangerous. Icicle Spear, probably with the lower dice. If he gets 5 hits, that's going to be a knockout. He gets 4, though. And the U-turn is going to come out to bounce out of there. Yeah, that's so much damage on the Moltres already. And Blue Varon starting off strong. Once again, the Gambler with the loaded dice.
I think Corviknight. Good switch here.
Yeah, it probably makes the most sense here. Anything else? Wouldn't like to take an Icicle Spear to the face. So I think that, yeah, Corviknight is kind of your only choice. Unless you somehow think that a Sucker Punch is going to kill from this range on Urshifu, but I don't think it will.
Unless you have something scarf, maybe. I'm not sure.
Unless it's like Choice Band Sucker Punch or something like that, which would be crazy. But otherwise, I think that, yeah, Corviknight is your one and only switch in this situation. Already a really strong start for Varon, setting up the Dragon Dance and getting a lot of damage. It's going to be the Garchomp, actually. Ooh, that's a Scarf! But the Dragon Claw is not enough. The Icicle Spear is going to take it out. This Kyurem is so tanky, and the Scarf Garchomp wasn't enough. That was the tech that Spectre had provided. Varon decided to preserve the Kyurem as well, and here comes the Charizard. The U-turn is going to come out.
Boltund, surely, Boltund, yeah.
Yeah, here comes the Boltund.
It must Spectre be otherwise, there's no way it KOs.
Boltund is faster. The Thunderbolt is not enough to take out this arrow. Yeah, and there's the Heat Wave, one-shotting the Boltund on its place. And Varon is 2 Pokemon up, and that Moltres was already heavily damaged too. Here comes the Toxapex. It's going to eat a Seismic Toss, doing damage with the Rocky Helmet too. Ooh, this is a good position for Varon. The Stealth Blocks go up. The Toxic comes out.
The Charizard's down then. The Charizard's down.
Yeah. Unless he manages to clear these rocks, the Charizard is surely gone. But the Infestation comes out, and that traps the Blissey on the field unless it can teleport out of there. And no, Spectre seems like he's going to decide to stay in. And I think that Varon has found a way to take out this Blissey, locking it with Infestation and killing it with the Toxic. And this is massive. Softwell is going to come out, but surely that poison damage is going to start to rack up. Ooh, this is a good position for Varon. The Seismic Toss comes out, another Infestation. And this Toxic damage is going to be enough. Alongside this Infestation, the Blissey goes down. And now here comes the Moltres. It's going to be able to roost up. And another Infestation comes out. Moltres is trapped once again. Air Slash looking for that Paraflinch. It doesn't get it. And the Recover is going to heal up. Going for that Paraflinch once again. He doesn't get it again. And the Toxic is going to be massive. This Moltres already so incredibly low. He's going to have to roost again. There's a switch into the Charizard for momentum. The Air Slash misses even. No Infestation damage to come out. And here comes the Roaring Moon.
Yep, that's over then. Yep, it's over.
Yeah, Dragon Dance. U-turn comes out. Super effective damage. Moltres is going to live to see another day.
Fire.
But now we see Roaring Moon at +1. Knockoff is over half. Takes out the Rocky Helmet. But the Body Press is going to be enough to take out the Roaring Moon. And Spectre is slowly bringing it back. I mean, if this Kyurem doesn't have boots, it's also going down to the rocks. So I think that Spectre is slowly bringing this one back. There's the Iron Crown.
Has Thunderbolt, I think.
It does, yes.
Yes, and Thunderbolt also hits the Moltres, hits pretty much everything. I think if you want to preserve Corviknight, your only switch is the Urshifu, but do you want to take that valuable damage on the Urshifu at this stage of the game? The answer is going to be no. It's going to be the sacrifice from the Moltres, but that gives Varon the opportunity to set up a Calm Mind. And now who's faster? It's going to be the Moltres. That Flamethrower is good damage. The second Calm Now. And the Toxic is going to be enough to take out.
Now the Wicked Blow.
Moltres. Yeah, Wicked Blow comes out,
Okay.
takes out the Iron Crown. And now it's a 2-3 in favor of Spectre.
But probably a 2v2.
But again, if the Kyurem isn't wearing boots, it's going to go down. Wicked Blow comes out, it's good damage. Here comes the infestation, but another
No, he
Wicked
should
Blow.
recover.
Oh. So there's a switch into the Kyurem. It's going to go down to the rocks. Wicked Blow fails. And that's good because that's Regenerator healing for the Toxapex. Here comes the Rillaboom setting up the grassy terrain.
This is a grassy glide, surely.
Most likely, yeah. Unless
The Spectre have the poison jab.
Close combat is going to come out. It's not going to be enough. And this
that might be
Rillaboom is
all.
going to pick up the kill. No, it's going to be a taunt.
Oh, that's a bad move. That's an extremely bad move.
He was predicting the switch into the Corviknight, and now Varon is on the back foot. He needed to take the knockdown while he got it. Oh, no. And I think that's the avenue that Spectre needed to get back into the game. Another Wicked Blow is going to take out the Toxapex, and it's all down to the Rillaboom now, and I don't think it's going to be enough. Grassy Glide comes out. It's not enough damage, and another Wicked Blow is going to do it. And Spectre wins 2-0 in an absolute nail-biter.
Wow.
The chips were down, but Spectre managed to pull it out off.
Yeah,
Wow. I really thought Varon had that.
Yeah.
I think there were a couple of misplays on his end. He was super close to the win. He was in a good position, but Spectre able to bring that back. I mean, Spectre...
Well done on the Spanish derby win.
Third of the tournament already. And I mean, Spectre, walk us through that one because it was another close game, but another win on your end. You managed to tough it out.
I couldn't believe that was a slow Iron Crown. I thought the game was going to be over after that. I mean, I saw the Calm Mind, and pretty much conceded. I mean, the second I saw Moltres was able to get the flamethrower off, I knew I was still in it. Overall, though, I mean, I think I just think I was able to just kind of like bulk it out in the end. I think I was a bit unlucky with the roll on Kyurem with Dragon Claw, because I was wondering on if I should have like Outrage instead, but I didn't want to just fall into get destroyed by Toxapex when I still needed it for everybody else. But I think what mattered most was that I was able to get the rocks up, which really just ended Zard and Kyurem and everybody out really quickly. I mean,
yeah.
I'm just glad. I just think really I got pretty lucky, I think, with a couple of the plays on my end. I think the really just being able to just bulk it out. Thank God for that for the grassy glide nerf. Definitely so. But I think even if it did die to grassy glide, I think I would have been able to hang on against a drain punch or even a superpower because of max defense. So on Corviknight, but I'm glad I won. I think I did a pretty all right job. There's definitely a lot to learn from this game, and I'm sure that everybody's going to be. I'm sure Varon has to be upset, but especially with how great he was playing, and he's going to probably come back with a vengeance. So I feel bad for whoever has him next.
Yeah, exactly. Massive win. Spectre now 3-0. That's essentially guaranteed a playoff spot. So how does it feel to be back?
Pretty damn good, I have to say. I mean, I like my form. I like how I'm doing. I like this team. I think it's really just playing to our strengths. I mean, I think a lot of people were asking, am I just going to try to blissy endgame it? And you can see I didn't. And I think it's proof that this team can do anything it wants to do, just so long as the game plan works and all that sort of stuff. So glad to have that.
Yeah, well, amazing win on the side of the Real Auxiliary. There's questions to be asked about the Cobalt Crusaders. Although 2-1, they're still in a good position as long as they can get that victory on the final match day, which I'm pretty sure has to be Piko.
Yeah.
So yeah, gonna be interesting to see how that one plays out. Congratulations, Varon. It was still a good game.
Again.
And yeah, like we were talking about, I think that you're still in a good position. But yeah, the one to take the win is Spectre and moves up to 3-0. Good position to start off. We're going to move on to a few of the replays that we have over here, starting with a game that I've actually haven't seen, because this game was going on while the stream was starting. And so I wasn't able to figure out what the heck happened here, but we're going to find out together, because it's the Libyan derby between Savutian and MMXZ. And we have the lineups here for Team LeBron James of Soccer and Allegri's Communist Party, two of the funniest teams that we have here in the tournament. And for the side of Savutian, we see the Annihilate Gliscor, Toxapex King Gambit, Hisuian Typhlosion, and Slowbro, while MMXZ coming in with Walking Wake, Venusaur, Mimikyu, Scizor, Victini, and Galarian Slowking. I mean, Mats, walk me through these teams. Where do you see the strengths and weaknesses?
Well, I think certainly Savutian's defensively well set up with 2 regenerators, and the fact they're water-based, which means that they can, certainly Toxapex can, I was going to say Victini, but although Victini can also is usually more physically used, so that will fit Slowbro nicely. Typhlosion has a good matchup into a lot of Allegri's Communist Party's Pokemon. The other question is, what will any water or ice moves be used on Gliscor? Because Savutian's used Gliscor very well, and King Gambit's got good physical defense. And as for the Pokemon of Allegri's Communist Party, they've got some good fire moves. Slowking's regeneration's going to be important. And Mimikyu can be very dangerous, but it's also worth noting that they have to win this game.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah,
And,
very.
And one thing I mentioned as well is that don't be surprised if you see Chiyu in an interview with Piers Morganson.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, we're going to have to see how this one plays out. Is the Libyan derby and also a Milenista derby here.
Yes.
Two closest friends in the Pokemon tournament, in the group of friends. It's going to be Savutian against MMXZ, and let's see what the leads were. Into the Venusaur. It's going to be a hard switch into the Walking Wake, and the rocks go up. The poison was already there, and the Hydro Pump is going to bounce off the Toxapex. That is the wall right there.
Again with the yapping.
As always, it couldn't be any other way. Toxic Spikes as well. So many hazards going down on MMX sides of the field. Sunny Day once again. We've seen this already. Once again going up.
Fast
and the
lead
lead is going to come
What's
out.
up?
Bulks
Yeah.
up. I mean, this could be
Earthquake.
all.
It's not a lot of damage.
Cubes
Wow.
of Earth Power. They're just going to bump up again.
You have to
And that's
poison him or
bad.
something.
Because that's already one Rage Beast boost. Here comes Mimikyu, gets
Or
poisoned.
Shadow Snake. Shadow Snake will say.
Oh, Drain Punch.
Oh, Drain Punch. Oh.
That's massive because he kept the disguise up. So yeah, he's going to have to switch out of
So-
that one. Player off misses.
No.
He wouldn't have done that much
It won't
damage
matter.
anyway.
Who do you expect to guard the Bucks? My dad?
Yeah.
To guard the Bucks.
Interesting how they're not yapping in Arabic.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's probably. I mean, they don't. I mean, they probably don't have an Arabic keyboard. I mean, it's probably
Yeah.
just probably the way it is.
And also a lot
This
of
is
people
like when the trainers want you to know what they're saying on the pitch. They want us to know what they're saying. So anyway,
Yeah.
there's a lot of switches
True.
going on. Slowking Galar is gonna eat up those toxic spikes, but there's the bulk up once again. And there's the Rage Fist. It's a 100 base score, and it's gonna take out the Slowking in one hit. Down it goes. And here comes Scizor to try and solve the situation. The fog is finally going to get rid of those pesky rocks. There's the Mega, though. Bug Bite is a lot of damage onto the flamethrower. Not enough on the flamethrower. He's not enough. Pick up the scissor. He's actually able to survive. And there goes the critical hit Bug Bite onto the Gliscor. That is a good switch. Here comes the switch.
The rocks go back up. He's dead. Now it's down.
Yeah, now it's down. Here's the U-turn as well. Pivoting back into the Slowbro. Sunny Day goes back up. But it feels like with so many switches, MMXZ is taking a lot of damage from the entry hazards. Slither goes up crucially.
Bulk up again.
Oh, Sludge Bomb is not a lot of damage, and it's bulk up once again. And now this Rage Fist is up to 150 base power, which is so dangerous. Really looking for that poison. He's not going to get it. Here comes the Rage Fist once again. It's going to be a one-shot on the Venusaur. So much damage. But immediately
he still has the disguise.
And that's key. Shadow Sneak is going to come out.
Black Sludge instead of the helmet that we saw.
Okay.
I mean, you could SD there, but it's not really going to do much.
Yeah.
But now you have to...
Cold Strike comes out.
So
a lot of damage onto the Toxapex. Still not enough.
Both of the poison types are down.
No.
Yeah, so you're never getting rid of...
He has to watch out for Glaciate or something.
Yeah.
Someone here famously did not.
Exactly. So here comes... Oh, the Hydro Bomb misses in the explosion and the eruption is going to come out. That is unlucky. That is so unfortunate. And Mimic is going to have to come out. That was a tough miss on the side of MMXZ, and I think that's what Savutian needed to close out this game. The Earthquake is going to break the disguise of this Mimikyu, bring it so low. Red card comes out, and there's the Sword Stance, but it's too little too late. Mimikyu literally has one more turn, and it's going to use it to Wood Hammer this Slowbro for massive damage. But yeah, I mean, the Scissor is going to go down to the rocks, so Victini is the only one left standing. And I don't think it's going to have enough to win this game. Here comes the switch into this Typhlosion to tank the Bolt Strike. It's still a lot of damage. But yeah, it's most likely a 6-0. Shadow Ball comes out, takes out the Victini, and Savutian claims the Livian Derby.
Wow.
Wow.
He was still in the game until whilst he had his poison types.
Yeah, but like the hazards just messed his whole team up.
Also, a lack of ice moves against Gliscor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, but yeah, that was an interesting. That was a close 6-0. You know how we have like wipeout 6-0s and close 6-0s? That was like a close 6-0.
Yeah.
Like if you could hover your mouse over like how much HP every Pokemon had left, like we can see like
I mean, half on Annihilate, max on Gliscor, a third on Toxapex, a quarter in Slowbro, half in this one, and King Gambit didn't come out to play. King Gambit didn't play.
He was competitive.
Yeah, decent win for the side of Savutian, and interesting battle on the side of MMXZ, who sadly now 0-3. I think that his chances of advancing to the playoffs have diminished massively, but still a good showing, I think. So we're gonna have to see what he can bring to the table on the final match day. So with that out of the way, we are gonna move on to the other game corresponding to Group A, and I think this one is an underrated one. I think this is one of the most important games of the entire group stage, which is gonna be Slither against GameboyShadow.
Oh my god!
So there are a lot of things coming into this one. Both trainers kind of coming into different form, because Slither is currently 1-1 after his narrow defeat to Savutian and a confident win over MMXZ, while GameboyShadow lost in Matchday 2 to Ayush, and GameboyShadow is still yet to pick up a win in the Pokemon Premiership if we account both of his seasons. But I think this is an interesting one, because against Ayush, we saw massive improvement from GameboyShadow. And, looking at what's ahead, it kind of feels like it's a game that neither trainer can afford to lose, because Slither's final game is Ayush. So going 1-2 would be very, very bad. While for GameboyShadow, going 0-2 would be really bad. But yeah, a lot of the line on this game. Two trainers that haven't seen the knockout stages in the Pokemon Premiership, but both have seen massive improvement. And so it's going to be an interesting battle between two friends as well, who have been training with Ayush and the others. We have the lineups too. On the side of Slither, we see the Mega Gallade, the Sableye, the Empoleon, the Enamorus, the Roaring Moon, and the Glimora, while GameboyShadow has the Jirachi, the Great Tusk, the Ogerpon, the Mega Altaria, the Primarina, and the Dragonite making its appearance. I mean, Spectre, these are some interesting teams because these are Pokemon that we're not used to seeing, but they're also dangerous teams, no?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I think really looking at this, the question will be really how to get past Glimmerer, which does seem very clear off a first glance on the side of GameboyShadow. But it's really the real question is, are you going to be able to like sort of withstand the toxic spikes that it's going to leave behind? I think overall, I think looking at this preview, I think I like GameboyShadow's team a bit better than Slither's, though obviously Slither has proven himself more as a player. Though, like you said before, GameboyShadow is improving, so this is really like the first true litmus test to really see like if he has really improved. Because obviously, somebody like Aish is such an impossibly high scale to be, at least for now. Like he'll be sure to climb that ladder one day, but not now. So let's see how that goes.
Yeah, it's going to be super interesting. There's a lot on the line on this game. Massive implications for Group A. It's going to be the Downtown Dream Eaters going up against the Eternal Emperors here. We have the leads. It's going to be the Glimora up against the Ogerpon. Here comes the Hornleech. It's almost half of the Glimora's health, and the Toxic Debris goes up. And the rocks too, so two sets of hazards going up. Trailblaze comes out. Critical hit is a lot of damage on the Sableye. And boosted speed. Reflect comes out, but it's not going to protect you from this Ivy Cudgel. And GameboyShadow has the first knockout. Roaring Moon. Instant switch back into the Glimora, though. And the Ivy Cudgel is going to be damaged as well. Another set of spikes goes up. But the Trailblaze is going to pick up another kill. And GameboyShadow is up 2 Pokemon. This Ogerpon running rampant. Critical hit through the Reflect from the Ivy Cudgel. And Slither is down 3 Pokemon just like that. And this Ogerpon is running rampant through his team. This Scald is good damage, and it's going to force the switching back into the Dragonite.
Ice Beam,
it's going to be a burn on the Skull, though.
That's going to be huge. But look at how much
damage. Oh my god.
And the Ice Beam takes out the Dragonite.
Excellent.
He's in this.
Slither gets one back. Oh, Aura Sphere comes out, big damage onto the Empoleon. It's not enough, though. The Skull is going to burn. And another Aura Sphere is going to take out the Empoleon.
No, it's
I don't think you mentioned this, but Slither would have to win against Ayush if he doesn't win this time.
Volca comes out, though. Gallade can potentially sweep this one. It's not enough. It survives, and the Moonblast is going to take it out. Massive survival on the side. Shadow agility comes out, but the Surfy comes out. It's a one-shot. And GameboyShadow has won 5-0 and picks up his first win in the Premiership.
Pure domination. Wow. And you can say whatever you want about that crit, but oh my god.
What was that?
He said you can say what you want. You can say what you want about the crit. You can say what you want about the role according to Slither, but what a win. What a way to really like get the show on the road.
Wow.
Yeah, and he needed that win too.
Now like he's in the lead for 3rd place now.
Yeah. Wow, that was massive for GameboyShadow. And what a weird game from the side of Slither with some of those switches, especially into the Roaring Moon. Then unlucky, obviously, to get crit. I mean, Ivy Cudgel has a high crit chance, but even then, it's still an unlucky time. But yeah, I mean, convincing.
Yeah. I think he overthought it because he sacrificed 2 Pokemon to get those status conditions up and that Reflect up. But by then, you already lost 2 Pokemon, so you're going to play catch-up for the entire game. I think it was too risky.
Mm-hmm. Here we have Slither thoughts. I played very recklessly, and luck wasn't on my side either. If you were to ask me what I do different, I tell you everything. There is no aspect in this game that I would do again. But yeah, well done to GameboyShadow. First win in the Pokemon Premiership after going 0-4 last season and starting with a loss to Ayush. Gets a win, and it's like you were saying, great for his possibilities of advancing. He still has to play up against Savutian and MMXZ. So there's potential for GameboyShadow potentially to even make the knockouts, which would be amazing to see. Well, Slither has a tough mountain to climb because he's going to take a break next week and final week is Ayush.
He has to beat Ayush, otherwise he's out. Oh my god.
Yeah, Slither has to beat Ayush, so he's going to have to cook something up. I mean, Slither, you cannot say that your season's over yet, but you have a really tall mountain to climb. You have a week to prepare, an extra week to prepare. You have to put everything into try and beating Ayush. We've seen crazier things happen, I think. So it would be one of the crazy stuff.
If I understand correctly, his Pokemon difference isn't too bad. So I think this doesn't have to do as much. He hasn't got the opponent's a huge mountain, but the margins in the tables not as bad as it could have been.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Wow, but what a win for GameboyShadow. What an explosive game too. It was over in 14 turns, which is crazy to think about. We're gonna move on to our final 2 replays, which both correspond to Group B. Starting off with a game that I have been waiting for ever since the groups were drawn and ever since I saw in the schedule, which is going to be Mats against Chris, the Avop Dragons going up against the Colorado Dog Trios, 2 friends going toe-to-toe here, and a massive game also for the standings of the tournament, because we know that Brazilian Fury currently 1-1, while Mats took a break in week 2 after losing in week 1, and is having to come here to bounce back. We have the lineups here on the side of Brazilian Fury. We see a few changes, actually, because it's the Tapu Koko, the Ting Lu, the Snizzler, Mega Kangaskhan, Iron Threads, and Latias. Well, Mats bringing Zapdos, Infernape, Hoopa Unbound, Don Doso, Baxcalibur, and Clodsire. I mean, Titanes, looking at these lineups, what is your opinion on how this game could play out?
Yeah, some very interesting changes by Mats. He's brought back that Hoopa. He's brought back that Fish. Yeah, I mean, it's a very useful Pokemon for him. They were last season. Clodsire is very interesting and normally very annoying to deal with. Like for me at least, in competitive Pokemon, especially with that Water Absorb ability, though I don't think Chris has any Water type Pokemon. That Zapdos can be very annoying. We saw how bulky it was last season with its Roost and how it can pivot out with Volt Switch. And yeah, but I mean, Chris's team, I think Chris has a bit more powerful Pokemon, but I think Mats is much more familiar with his team because he's worked with a lot of these Pokemon, and he's familiar with them from other teams as well from previous seasons. So yeah, I think it's sort of a battle of power versus familiarity.
Also, for the record, Baxcalibur was on my lineup graphic.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I didn't get to show the lineup graphic. Let me get that up because since you prepared it, we may as well show it.
Yeah.
Hold on, give me 1 second to take this one out. And yeah, here's the lineup graphic for the Avop Dragons going up against the Colorado Dog Trios. It's also, since we were talking this as a group of football, it's also Brazil-England, which I think is very, very interesting. And
it's Europe versus the Americas, in fact.
Yeah, I don't think. When's the last time you really had like a Brazil-England match, really? Because I feel like for as big footballing wise as those countries are, I don't really feel like they have like a big rivalry, like compared to like Argentina Brazil or Argentina England or England against the rest of Europe or whatever.
I think the most memorable match they had was the 1970 World Cup. I think that was the one.
Yeah.
Obviously, the World Cup winning Brazil and the England that was defending the World Cup. So
yeah, I mean, there was also 2002 where Ronaldinho.
That too.
Match.
Yeah. So yeah, those are like the 2 main ones that come to mind. But yeah, now we're gonna have to see how this one plays out in Pokemon. And like we were saying,
Lucknow Stadium in the background.
Like we were saying, it has massive implications for the standings. We're gonna have to see who comes out on top is the Evolved Dragons against the Colorado Trios. Here we have the leads. It's going to be the Clotsire up against the Tapu
Oh,
Koko.
this is a horrible matchup.
Dazzling Gleam comes
who's
out.
saying
Brazilian
that?
is ready to stay in, and the
Why?
takes out the Coco in one hit.
Why?
Just like that. Matt
So
is in the
straight
lead,
into
taking
Sneasler.
the Sneasler. But the
Acrobatics
acrobatics is
isn't-
not going to be a lot of
Don't
damage.
work.
No,
No,
if you-
Earthquake is doing damage. Again.
Oh my
Brazilian
goodness.
Fury is choking. Here comes another close combat. It's not enough, and a third Earthquake is going to
It's
be
a
enough.
rock.
All the
Wait,
rocks.
oh no.
But
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, well, there's dumbbells, so you can do that.
Also,
Okay,
Right.
fine.
Helmet is enough to get the
Oh,
kill.
okay, that's a good move. Okay.
Iron Threats comes out. There's the Quark Drive activating. It's a plus defense. Rapid Spin
Pretty
comes out.
good,
gets rid of
but
the
the water
rocks,
type
gets
damage
the
and the
rock
rocky
helmet.
helmet.
Oh, and the
It's
liquidation is a lot of damage. Even
Oh,
gets the
this fish.
defense
Oh my
drop.
word, this fish.
You can still Volt switch out though, right?
Clotsire.
Or you
Not if
can-
it's Clotsire, but there's the rocks that go up. And now Iron
Yeah,
Threats is a
surely.
threat.
Oh, Zapdos. Boots.
Oh, but the Zapdos
Oh,
is a
wow.
perfect switch into the Earthquake, and it's wearing the boots as well. So here comes Ting Lu to try and
Volt switch. Defog.
Bog instead
Wow.
gets rid of the rocks. Hurricane connects. Is a quarter of Ting
Confusion.
Lu's health.
No.
Ruination
Ruination.
does
The
not.
Ruination
Nice
is a
root.
flat half.
Yeah, and here comes the
I have
switch
a
into the
Clotsire.
Clotsire. Whirlwind.
Whirlwinds
I
out
think this
into
is
Oh,
Dumbo.
wow,
Oh,
that's
such a
a bad
powerful
matchup.
whirlwind.
That's a bad matchup.
Yeah, Ruination and Liquidation is going to be a lot of damage into Ting Lu, and the
Wow.
defense drop again. Another Liquidation will be enough. Earthquake is not enough damage. And
Rest and sleep
to
talk.
sleep
We've
goes to
seen it before.
Dondoso. Yeah, the spikes go up. Dondoso is going to use the sleep talk, but it lands on Rest. Unlucky on the side of Mats. So that's going to be the switch back into Zapdos. Ruination misses on the Zapdos. That's a tough miss. But this thing, Lou is sitting on the field. Another Defog comes out, and the Whirlwind into the hoop at this
Oh,
time
Hoopa,
around.
this is dangerous. This is dangerous.
Dark Pulse is not a lot of
Oh,
damage.
Ooh, I
on
don't
this
get
thing,
that
Lou.
play.
Earthquake is a lot of damage onto the Hoopa.
Ah,
Wait a minute, this thing, Lou is going to bring it back. Here comes Ruination into the Zapdos once again.
Wait, but I mean, come on.
Let's see if he. Well, here comes
That's
Bats.
Caliber, yeah. But the
Whirlwinds it out.
Whirlwind again.
Up in the
into the
dozo.
sleeping
Okay, sleep
Dondoso.
talk. Just sleep talk.
Ruination misses
Ruination
once
misses
again.
again.
Here comes the Sleep Talk once again. It lands on
Oh,
Rest
come
again.
on.
Oh,
And no progress is being made once, and this time the Ruination connects. Liquidation comes out as
Liquidation,
Dondoso
so much.
wakes up. So much damage. Earthquake, not enough damage on the
I don't get why
Dondoso.
Chris isn't pivoting into like Latias or something. I don't understand that.
I feel like that would make a lot of sense. Sleep Talk for a third time in a row lands in Rest. Amat's not getting
What
that
are the
liquidation.
odds?
Gets the
Then
same
what?
headbutt, but it's not effective.
What
And here comes the Whirlwind into the Zapdos. The fog comes out once again. This thing, Lou, has been sitting on
Nah,
the
the
field
thing is,
forever.
I feel like you should just forget about Hazard. Just focus on getting this thing down.
Oh, finally, Latias comes out, but the Hurricane misses too. And maybe that's the avenue that Chris needed. Volswitch comes out to go into the Hoopa. Calm Mind comes out from the Latias. Is it going to be enough? Draco
That's
Meteor
not
is
good.
going to
That's
take
not
out the
good move.
Hoopa.
Oh,
And that's one kill to Brazilian Fury. Here comes the Excalibur, though. Greedy getting that Calm Mind. And now there's the
Greedy.
Dragon Dance from the Excalibur. And the Icicle Crash is
Icicle
going to be
Crash.
enough
Oh,
to take out the
oh,
Latias.
this might be over. This might be over.
It might be. Here comes the switch into the Ting Lu once again. Earthquake.
Earthquake.
A lot of
I mean,
damage into
Crash
the
is still right there.
Icicle Crash.
Quick break even
Point two.
enough
Okay, fine.
to take out. Here comes Kangaskhan and has to make
Big
a
break.
miracle happen. Another Dragon Dance comes out. Power
Oh,
up.
wow.
Doppelberry. Weakest of the fighting type move. That's amazing preparation from the side of Mats. And another big break is going to be enough to take out. The
Whoa.
Kangaskhan is all down to the Iron Threads. It's not going to survive this earthquake. And Mats picks up a 5-0 win.
Adding a few questionable players, like I feel like with Ting Lu, I feel like a bit too passive probably under Ting Lu. Probably should have just been more aggressive with it. But once he switched out, then yeah, the battle was completely in your hands then. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I definitely think that Chris could have played that better. If he
Yeah.
went into Latias earlier, I think he was potentially in a good position after a horrible start because
Yeah,
he
what
stayed in
were those
Tapu
plays?
Koko to Dazzling Gleam, a Clotsire. So yeah, Chris, really poor start, managed to bring it back somewhat because of how tanky Ting Lu was, but like you were saying, he was a bit too passive with it. And Matt's able to capitalize on his opportunity, pick up a massive final win. I mean, Matt, congratulations on that victory, 1-1 now.
Well
How are you
done.
feeling after that win?
Yeah, very satisfied. It it reduces the pressure on me going into the next two. Only one is a minimum requirement for me, though I would like to get both of them, both wins. But I think taking care of Tapu Koko and Sneasler were my first priorities. I didn't expect to have that to deal with them this soon. I clicked Earthquake because I thought he was going to predict a poison move, and if he had switched, that would have been an even better play because he had Air Balloon on Iron Treads. But yeah, I was a bit surprised when he started with the Dazzling Gleam and the Rocky Helmet takedown on Sneasler. I just that was more of an initial thought in the moment, even though Dondozo was going to be my main counter to Sneasler that wasn't a type advantage. And my other main plan was to get Baxcalibur in a position where it could just smash most of his team. But I think midway through, I could have probably wrapped it up a bit sooner. I was stalling a bit too much, and like I did try with sacrificing Oddsire and maybe Zapdos as well. Maybe I could have sent it in for Ernit because I did give it a Sugar Berry. Maybe I could have inflicted some damage, and then after it goes down, sending Baxcalibur that way. I did apart from that one moment when Baxcalibur got whirlwinded away. I didn't want to switch it in to hard switch it in because of how valuable it could be getting me this win. But by the time it came in, my two main, Clodsire is of course weak to Psychic, and then my other two Pokemon that were stronger on the special defensive side had their defense is reduced. So by the time Baxcalibur got in, it was the game was pretty much decided. Whoever was gonna win in that matchup between Baxcalibur and Latias, and even though I didn't have a choice but to go into Baxcalibur out of all my Pokemon that was left, I did have some hope because the Latias's special attack had dropped, and once I had got that Dragon Dance, it was mission accomplished.
Yeah, I mean, like you were saying, you really needed that win to not go 0-2 at the start. You now have to play up against Absolute and up against Juliana as well. So, I mean, looking ahead, how are you seeing those matches? Obviously, we'll get to the schedule later, but how are you seeing the rest of the group ahead of you?
Well, certainly they've got to win at least one of them. Who knows? Perhaps I've got to win two, depending on how things go. But all I've really seen of Absolute was what she did against Chris. But I have been looking at the team since the day after I beat Chris. So yeah, and then Juliana, for all her problems, can be a wild card. So I think I'll probably have even more of a shaped opinion on these next two games when I see both of my next two opponents playing each other.
Yeah, I mean, and we can get to that right away because that is going to be the final replay that we have ahead of us. It's going to be Juliana against Absolute, which I think is a very interesting one, and it's something that I want to say before we start this game is that I'm pretty sure that this is the first time that we've had two female trainers going up against each other in the Pokemon
I believe so
Premiership.
too.
And I think that that's super important because, I think that compared to other games, Pokemon is usually on the more inclusive side, but even then, it's been difficult, even in modern ages like 2026, for women to feel comfortable in gaming spaces. And I think that it's very important that we have this type of matchup shape up. And obviously, Boyd, our most recent contestant that joined in, also a girl that is going to be playing in the tournament. So very, very important, and very important as well for the standings, because Juliana essentially fighting for her life as well. Well, Absolute, after picking up that win last week against Chris, looking to go 2-0 in this group. And we have the lineups here. Juliana not changing one thing from her first two matches. We still see the Manaphy, the Mew, the Mega Venusaur, the Sylveon, the Cinderace, and the Galarian Zapdos. Well, Absolute, who actually went by the nickname Absolute Ayush, going here with Tornadus, Raging Bolt, Archaludon, Pelipper, Mega Swampert, and Alolan Muk. I mean, Spectre, another rain team, and Juliana just keeping things to what she knows.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big question is like, can she bulk it out? I mean, we know how difficult it is to like break through. It can be really difficult to break through, Manaphy and Rain. I mean, especially if you've played like old generations, like Manaphy and Permanent Rain, with like obviously stuff like Kyogre behind as well. But like you can just rest and like lose you just heals back to full and all that sort of stuff. So you kind of just have to like wonder, is she going to be able to outbulk Absolute side? Which I think it's possible. You might be able to out-offense it as well, especially since there's only one Swift Swimmer there. It does kind of fall into a bit of a difficult situation against Venusaur as well. And overall, I mean, I think it's a really good chance for Juliana to maybe make a big move. She probably needs to be a bit more aggressive and like really take the initiative to really try to like pressure out Pelipper as much as she can. I think it's still possible. Maybe we might see some pretty cool text, like Sunny Day on somebody, even Hail or whatever. So we'll find out. I mean, this looks like a place where like a Sandstorm Raikou would really do some work, eh?
Yeah, probably. But I think Matt's confirmed me that Raging Bolt actually does not learn Sandstorm, which is so disappointing. Like, honestly, it's the long neck Raikou. Like, it has to learn Sandstorm. But
its heads in the clouds. That's why it doesn't learn Sandstorm.
Exactly. It's going to try to take use of the rain. It's going to be the last match that we have here today, this week, between the London International and the Pombon Ninjas. Let's see what the leads were. Here comes the Mew into the Pelipper. It promptly rains from the get-go as the rocks go up. The Hurricane in the rain lands, but it's not a lot of damage. That Mew tanks it very well.
Oof. They're not.
So there's a switch into a Manaphy and another Hurricane connects.
He doesn't take it as well. The surf,
so much damage. The rain is good damage, and there's a U-turn into the Raging Bolt, and this is the problem now. Yeah, it's gonna be the switch into the Venusaur. Volt switch comes out.
Volt switch.
And yeah, that's gonna be the switch into the Tornadoes. Takes rocks damage, so it's not boots.
I need it.
Oh, and so it goes behind the substitute. The Sludge Bomb, however, brings down the sub. But the Hurricane is gonna connect in the rain and take out the Venusaur just like that.
By the way, Matt's left. Phoenix be at the back, by the way.
Okay, Protect comes out.
Blocks a U-turn. No, here it comes again. Another tick of the clock. Hyper Voice bounces off. And here you can go. I don't know if you want to do that. Gunk shot misses. That's huge.
And that gives Juliana time. Another Protect comes out, but you have to find a way to break through this Muk. Here's the switch into a Cinderace. Gunk shot is so much damage still. But here comes the switch into the Raging Bolt, and the Fireball is going to
Fireball, that's enough. That's a lot of damage.
Sucker Punch with the Libero goes into a Dark Tempe, but it's not enough, and the Volt switch is going to take out the Cinderace. And that's 2 kills already on the side of Absolute. The rain goes up again. The rocks are damaged decently. Here's a switch into a Swampert.
Here's a Brave Bird.
Oh, U-turn instead.
Oh, U-turn instead? That's acceptable.
Energy ball.
Here comes the Mega Swampert. Liquidation in the rain. Mew is able to survive. Comes down and burns the Swampert. That is still decent. but it's not going to be able to leave a second one. Here comes the switch into the Manaphy as the rocks go up.
This, come
And
on,
this
LG
one-
ball now. Come on.
Flip turn is going to get the
Flip
Swampert
turn, that's
out
gonna be
there.
huge. Here comes our Calodon. If it Ice Beams, I mean,
Our balloon.
There's
And there's the
energy
energy
ball.
Oh
like a
no,
Brasilian
it's got that
step
move. I
late.
forgot what it's called. It's got that move in rain.
Electro Shot.
Yeah.
Oh,
Here comes the switch into the Sylveon. It is going to be the Electro Shot special attack boost. He's in the rain. It still does a third to the
Thanks, it
Sylveon.
will.
Even-
it will
Oh,
KO.
wow.
But the Flash
Flash
Cannon
Cannon,
is still
no,
a lot of
even
damage,
with
still
that.
unable to survive. And the Hyper Voice is so much damage, not enough for the knockout though. And I think
He
that
just
another
might.
Electro Shot will be enough. And now this Archalon is +2 special attack. The rain is over though. And
Oh,
here
no.
comes the
He
Mew
could've
to
went
try and
Zapdos.
clean up. Soft Build comes out, body press with the +2
House is
defense.
off.
It's not a lot of damage.
Good Willow
There's
Wisp.
going to be the switch into the Zapdos though. Draco Meteor comes out and takes out the Zapdos in one hit. And here's a switch into the Manaphy. I think this Archalon is running away with the game. Ice Beam though is enough to take it down. Juliana gets one back. The Rocks, not enough to take out the Raging Ball. The Thunderbolt sure is enough to take out the Manaphy. Mew is the last line of defense here for Juliana. Another Thunderbolt will be enough. An absolute picking up, an absolutely brilliant 5-0 win.
Fair enough.
You know, we were talking earlier about 6-0s and 5-0s that are very close, are much closer than the final result. This is one of those games. Like, I think, like, especially like Juliana was in actually a pretty good position to potentially win if she went over to Zapdos immediately after, like, I think after the second Electro Shot. Because it would have been like at 30%. You have a stab close combat right there, and I mean it's hard for any of Absolute Squad to switch in at all. I mean, Burn Swampert, Muck. Muck doesn't really like to take physical attacks. I mean, ooh, that was pretty close.
Yeah, I agree because I think that even though the scoreline was very very big, I think that if Juliana like cleans up a few things, she potentially is in that game, like you were mentioning. It wasn't meant to be. An Absolute now 2-0 in the group, commanding position to potentially make the knockouts, and yeah, we're gonna have to see what she does next. Very very interesting stuff. With that, we are out of games because, like we were mentioning, we only had 7 games for you guys today, but we're still going to take a look at what the standings look like because there's been some massive shape-ups on this season of the Premiership. We see Group A, where we have our first confirmed elimination, which is going to be MMXZ 0-3 with a -17 differential. There's no climbing out of that one. Even if GameboyShadow were to lose both of his games and there's a 3-way tie for 1 and 3, it's not possible to overcome that deficit. So a bit unfortunate for Allegri's Communist Party. The rest of the table, though, is shaking up to be very, very interesting because Ayush and Savutian are essentially in a neck-and-neck battle for first that is going to come down to the game that is played between them, while GameboyShadow, with his win over Slither, has put himself in a really good position to potentially make the playoffs, while Slither basically has to beat Ayush and try to pray that other things go his way. So, I mean, this group has exploded after this weekend, I feel.
Yep.
Once we move into Group B, we see that myself and Absolute 2-0 undefeated on the same difference as well. The 2 rain teams of the group putting up numbers and putting ourselves in a good position for the playoffs potentially. Matt's massive win to go 1-1 and put himself temporarily on the last playoff spot, while Brazilian Fury dropping after that defeat to Matt. Juliana still 0-3. Still technically an outside chance to make the playoffs, but it's going to take a lot. But yeah, still looking forward to seeing her improvement. But I mean, the battle for that playoff spot and the top spot in the group, I think it's going to be the main things to look out for in Group B once again. Group C is where we know absolutely nothing because a few of the games are still yet to be played, basically all of boys' games. But we have Altima, as it stands, ahead of the pack, and Idaa, with his win over Philippe, sitting in second place. Philippe is going to have to bounce back out of that one because that was tough. And Durul, now that he doesn't have his win over Rassi, is going to have to win again against Void to try and climb the table. So I think that this group, by far the most interesting, and we're going to find out how it looks next week to try and see how it starts shaping up going into the final match day. And for Group D, we have Spectre 3-0, Varon 2-1, Kaijinken 1-1, while both Piko and Titanes 0-2. I mean, we have 2 or 4 panelists here. Seeing how this group is shaping up, what do you expect out of the final 2 match days? Let me come to Titanes first on that one.
I expect war. I think next match day we're gonna see one of most hyped up battles in this tournament's history because it's an Indian derby, probably the most intense rivalry we've seen in the tournament so far, and it's do or die. If I beat Kaijinken, I think there's definitely a chance that he goes out because the deficit between him and Piko is only 1 Pokemon. There's a chance that he goes out if I beat him, and if he beats me, then I'm definitely out. So it's literally a do or die battle, just throwing everything we've got at it and seeing who wins. So we are gonna have to really put my egg in for that one.
I mean, Spectre, on your end, you're seeing things from the above. You're watching on as the other ones fight for a playoff spot. You're almost guaranteed that playoff spot, 3-0 commanding position. How does it feel?
It feels pretty damn good, especially compared to last season. I'm going to be looking forward to how these battles for next week end up going because, well, I have the view from above, like you said. I think really, like I said, this is, like Titanes said, this is war. I mean, these people, I mean, it's going to be like the most intense Indian derby. I know like Titanes and Kaijinken, they played last season in the group phase, and it was never at this level, not with so much on the line aside from pride and Greninja. But I'm definitely looking forward to that. And I believe next week Varon plays against Piko as well. And I think really now that he's really been, I think Piko will have to play for his life as well. Varon's gonna have to come back with a vengeance, and I'm saying like I said before, I have my worry for Piko because I know that Varon, he said that he misplayed a lot and he wasn't his brightest, but that's him misplaying a lot. What we just saw this week, I mean, I know that these are two. Varon is a very strong trainer, which I think his team / draft selection, I think, doesn't really reflect that as well, to be honest. But I think Piko has a strong team, so we're gonna have to see it's gonna be a battle of individual brilliance against group success, and then we just have a straight up grudge match between Kaijinken and Titanes, and I mean that is probably going to be the match of the week.
Yeah, I
no
mean,
problem, Silver. I'll do what I can.
Yeah, they're really definitely chasing this one. That's what the English trainers are looking for. So looking ahead to next week, which is week 4, we don't have to wait long. Ayush against Savutian to see who tops the group. I think it's one of the games to watch for sure on that one. Well, MMXZ goes up against GameboyShadow. GameboyShadow, with a win, could potentially put himself 2-on-1 and even put even more pressure on Slither going up to that match against Ayush. However, if somehow MMXZ gets to play spoiler up against GameboyShadow, suddenly that opens the door for Slither on the final match day. So we could see some very interesting stuff happen in Group A, but obviously that Ayush against Savutian match is going to be very, very interesting. And we get to see how a pro deals with Chiyu on that one. Then in Group B, we're going to have Brazilian Fury up against myself, the Argentina-Brazil derby. that we have been waiting for. One last opportunity for Brazilian Fury to test himself while I try to get back on track and secure a spot in the playoffs. Well, we're also going to have a match against Absolute. Great battle to try and see potentially two people who are fighting for that playoff spot. Absolute with a win is potentially chasing the top spot in the group as well.
It's an England-France derby as well.
As well,
So-
yeah. I mean, Mads, any thoughts on Absolute after her first 2 wins that you've witnessed?
Well, it's going to be a challenge, but one that I'm happy to embrace. And hopefully the team I set up will be good enough. I know that trash talking doesn't usually go well for me, but at worst, I'm not out of the woods if this goes wrong for me. But as James May once said, France is just a country you have to drive through to get to Italy. That's all it's there for.
Yeah.
I agree. I couldn't agree more.
Oh,
Shots fired. Shots fired.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to that one, and I do have some comments on the other one, but I don't know if you want to go through the rest of the fixtures first.
I mean, you want to speak about myself against Chris? Go for it if you want.
Yeah, well, this is as you said, this is one that Chris, in 99% circumstances, has to win, and hopefully for him, this is not like Boca Juniors versus Palmeiras in terms of the record that favors you. And I think the nicknames on your side are going to go crazy, so I'm looking forward to that aspect too.
I don't know. I'll have to come up with something creative. I'm not that good with nicknames, I think.
I mean, I thought you were just going to look at past Boca players who had success against Palmeiras.
We'll see. There are definitely options there. Group C is going to have a lot of battles because here we see Felipe against Alfima and Idaa against Doodle. But we also have 3 games that Void is going to have to catch up with, which are going to be up against Alfima, Doodle, and Idaa. And she's going to play Felipe on Matchday 5 as well. So next stream is going to be long, I expect it. And we're going to see 3 battles in a row of the same trainer, which is going to be exciting as well. Of these 2 matches that we have here, I think that Felipe against Alfima is extremely interesting because Alfima showed good stuff in his match up against Idaa, while Felipe is going to have to bounce back after losing to Idaa. And then Doodle against Idaa is also super interesting, with Doodle kind of having to win that one, but Idaa showing how strong his team can be on the Trick Room. 2 very interesting matches that are going to take place in Group C. And well, we look at Group D, which is the one that we most extensively talked about. Obviously, Varon against Piko. Piko in a position where he must win to keep his hopes alive in this tournament, and potentially play spoiler against Varon after that blazing 2-0 start, now sitting at 2-1. Varon with a win would secure a spot in the playoffs, most likely. And then the match that we've been waiting for, Kaijinken up against TNS, the Indian Derby, also playing in a region where you both guys grew up. And I mean, it's a massive one because, like you were saying, it's basically do or die for both of you, TNS.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's going to be live as well. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. We're going to have to see how that one plays out.
And in your home city.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, incredible stream. We saw lots of back and forth, lots of news, lots of amazing battles, and nail biters all the way through. And yeah, I think this was a great one. Thank you all so much for joining on the chat, and thank you to the panel for joining me here. Do you have any final messages before we wrap up for week 3?
Where do I even begin? But I will say that, I don't know if you mentioned this, but Chris's last group stage game is next week.
Mm-hmm. It is. It is. He has to buy on week 5, so yeah, it is.
So that's another reason why a result for him is so important.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
But I'm happy about this week, and I'm anticipating next week as well.
Mm-hmm.
borderless fraud.
Anyway, thank you all so much for joining once again. We'll be back here same time on Saturday to bring you the matches from Matchday 4 as we start to get closer to the end of the group stages and the stakes get higher. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll be seeing you all next week. Peace out.